Guys, have you ever gotten your ass kicked by a city? I just had a meeting with the planning commission on one of the towns just outside of Nashville that I'm doing some building in, and it did not go well. It was basically, I was talking to them about what I thought was like a no-brainer, easy subdivision. Like the zoning is right, the size is right, should be no problem to turn this piece of land into 5 little lots. And they just crushed all my hopes and dreams with the number of things that I would be required to go through and some of the problems they saw with water in particular, water pressure in that area, And I'm making this video because I want to, on this channel, I want to like walk through the process of building this thing. And a big part of that process for me right now, because it's still a young company, is like learning in these ways. And I just don't think there's a substitute for getting your hands dirty. Now today, I got my hands very dirty. I got smoked, but I actually know a lot more than I did 2 hours ago about how to develop in this community. So it was useful, even though it was painful. I don't think the project is completely lost, but it's probably going to be less profitable. And it's going to take some extra effort to sort of pull something decent together. That's okay. I'm not really sure exactly what, like I'm trying to think of like, oh, is there some great principle, some like thing that we should learn? I think the closest to that I can get is to say that my strategy right now is that I continue to do projects that I know will go, sort of easier, smaller projects that I can do pretty easily now. And I do that to make sure that I can stay afloat financially, and that buys me the space financially, time-wise, otherwise, to try some of these projects that might fail and have the room to fail and maybe even lose a little money on one because I've got, 5 easy 1 or 2 unit builds lined up, and it basically pays for my education when I'm trying to do bigger things like the mixed use deal that I'm trying to do that I've been talking about, stuff like that. If that was the only deal I had, that would be a huge problem because my family's financial security would like hinge on this thing going forward that I don't know enough about to know for sure it would work. The lesson is to give yourself a way to get in and get your hands dirty. All the things I learned from the city this morning, I can only learn by going in and saying, hey, I got a piece of land, here's what I'm trying to do, and then having them tell me all the problems with it. So I'm gonna head into the factory in Franklin, go get a little work done, and try to emotionally recover from getting my butt handed to me. My name is Brian Bandas. I'm building a real estate development company. I'm becoming a better father, a better husband, a better entrepreneur, and a better man every single day. Let's get it. Might get in some trouble with my wife. She always tells me not to do videos while I'm driving, but I will say, as you can see, my eyes are forward on the road, but my mind is going. My point with the whole Macintosh Drive thing, which is the street that I was telling you about that I'm trying to subdivide, I have to acknowledge in myself that part of what I'm disappointed about is that I want it to be easier. And I think that's very normal, that's very human to just wish it wasn't so hard. But the reality is, if I want personal transformation and I want to create value and therefore receive value back from the world, right? I mean, when we get compensated, whether it's money or something else, it is really the receipt of value back from the world, typically when we provide value of some kind. Steve Jobs created a ton of value because the iPhone was convenient for millions and millions and millions of people, and he got a lot of value back, right? So to me, I have to realize that I can't separate the difficulty and the discomfort from wanting to receive value back, in this case, typically in the form of monetary compensation. And that's sort of I think the takeaway, and what I would encourage you to, if you're somebody who's watching this because you're building a business, whether it's real estate development or something else, you want to make good money and to have freedom, which is another form of value. You want those things. You don't get to have those without providing value. And one of, if not the primary way that we provide value is that we are willing to deal with more problems. We are willing to deal with more discomfort. We are willing to deal with more inconvenience, more challenges, the willingness to deal with it in general. My willingness to deal with figuring out what the heck the city wants me to do, it's not that fun. And my willingness to deal with that, whereas others aren't willing, is where I'm going to receive back value that others don't receive back from the world in general, right? Same reason that I pay somebody for the iPhone, because I'm not willing to do the work to figure out how the heck to put one of these things together. It's not my skill set for one thing, and I'm not willing to learn how to make it myself. So I will give value in exchange for the value that the convenience, etc., that the iPhone provides for me. So I got to remind myself, as much as I wish it was easier, the fact that it's difficult is why I'm going to get value returned to me over the long haul. Same for you. Whatever the thing is that you're building, the fact that you're the one who's willing to build it, who's willing to put in the effort, to be tired and frustrated and discouraged, and willing to put in the immense amount of energy that it takes mentally and emotionally to do this type of thing, that's where the value comes back. So you don't get to have one without the other. If I want to avoid the discomfort and the challenge that I'm up against right now, that's fine. I also can't expect to get compensated with some sort of value, monetary or otherwise, from the world when I'm not willing to deal with it. So that's my takeaway, is that getting my ass kicked is part of why I'm going to be able to build some financial freedom for myself and for my family, my kids, and all those things that I want. Side note, I got this cap from my buddy Sean, who also works in the real estate world. He owns a very, very successful mortgage company. So this is his cap. Shout out. And I love the way it fits so much that I just ordered a couple Anchor Acquisitions caps of this exact kind, because it's just it's crisp, you know. It looks kind of sexy. Thanks for that. Beard. Come on. This whole thing is an example of how I've got to be constantly growing. So with this particular municipality, what I learned this morning, not only is that I can't do this thing I was kind of hoping to do, but I might not be able to do anything. They said, oh man, we're not sure about your water pressure over here. You may not even be able to build. And that's news to me. That's not, what I have built in Nashville, that's not a thing. My initial reaction is like panic, like, oh my gosh, you know, we paid whatever we paid, 170 grand for this lot, could be worthless. And that would be really painful. So that's an example, though, as I've talked about in past videos, of being like a professional problem solver constantly. If they come back and they say that's the case, then immediately I have to go into problem solving mode and say, okay, what am I allowed to do to improve the water pressure? What's my cost there? Or what are other uses for this piece of dirt, and who might it be valuable to? That role of problem solver never ends. And frankly, I laugh a little bit, in spite of the fact that I'm a little nervous about what's going to happen. I laugh because here I am, right, styling myself as a developer, and I am, but I'm supposed to be the pro, and yet here we are. Number one, what we're trying to do is we've got a piece of land that's 3 lots, and it's big enough to be 5 potentially. That's what I was trying to do. And I was deep into this project before my brother-in-law, who builds with me, said, have you looked to see if you could do more than 3? I was like, no, but maybe I could. To a degree, he was right. I mean, I could. The size of the lot and the zoning was all there, and I went months without even looking at that. That's amateur hour. Like looking into the highest and best use for the property all day long. That is basic. If he hadn't made that passing comment one day while we were out there chopping trees down, I maybe never would have looked into it. The fact that it didn't work out today is sort of beside the point. It could have worked out, and the bottom line is I didn't do the research. And this whole thing, this whole project, this specific one has been largely problematic. And it's an example of me learning a lot of things the hard way, but I am becoming better. And that goes back to the idea that I've put myself in a position where some of them can fail and I can survive. And so it gives me space to do projects like this that are going to be a little more of a learning experience. It's my wife. She's so cute. She's gone now. Anyway, this type of experience, frankly, is painful to me. And I want to normalize it among other business builders like you, because it is painful, and I feel like I've got a little egg on my face. Maybe not to others, but to me, because I didn't look into subdividing this lot before it was mentioned to me, and I'm supposed to be the professional. I didn't know that in this municipality that water pressure could be such an issue that they could actually come back and say, oh, you can't build here. I already found out that it's definitely enough of an issue that these little houses, these little duplexes I'm building, I'm going to have to put sprinklers in them, which isn't, it's not a huge deal, but it's an extra expense. And to go through a project like this and like keep sort of getting smacked, going, oh, you didn't know this, idiot? You didn't know that? You didn't know you'd have to sprinkle it? You didn't know that you would have to this? You didn't know you can't subdivide into 5 because you'll have to do this for stormwater? And to just keep being like, no, I didn't know that. That's kind of a painful, humbling experience, right? If I listen to my ego says, you're an idiot, you're in over your head, what are you doing? If I'm in the right mindset, what I want to normalize is, how the hell would I know these things if I wasn't trying to learn how to develop here? That's how I learn them. I can call and ask as many questions as possible, but you don't know what you don't know. And the way that you learn is you get your hands dirty. For me, the smartest way to do it is to make sure that I've got a number of projects that are in a certain zoning, a certain style where, okay, I know that these are going to go and they're going to work, and I'm going to make the income I need for my family and some extra in case something like this happens with this property where I might lose. That's the strategy. That's the move, is to build up enough of a pipeline. It's dollar cost averaging, right? I've got enough of a pipeline that I can lose on a few and still be okay. So I want to normalize, by sharing these experiences, I want to normalize for my other entrepreneurs and business builders that painful learning process where you don't know everything and you learn it the hard way and you lose money and it sucks and you feel like an idiot. And I'm kind of trying to tell myself and tell you, it doesn't make me an idiot. It's just part of the process of learning. Now I know more than I did before my meeting this morning. I'll know more again in a month. I'll keep learning some things the hard way, but I'm gonna get better and better and better at this. And the losses, monetary or otherwise, will come fewer and further between. That's the goal. All right, so check this out though. In the process of failing at the fortified burrito business, I learned most of what you'll read in this chapter. That's what I call failing forward. Anytime you learn something useful, you come out ahead. In this case, my focus on a healthy diet probably increased my lifespan. I'm reading this book, How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big, by Scott Adams, creator of Dilbert. Used to love that comic. I guess I still do. But listen to that. Anytime you learn something useful, you come out ahead. Even though I got my ass kicked today, I did learn several useful things. And that's how we fail forward, baby. Let's keep on moving. Starting to look like a house. By the way, if you feel like you're learning something useful as we walk through this journey of real estate development and building a business together, then do me a favor. Throw me one of those, one of those, one of those. And listen, if you are somebody who is specifically hanging out with me here because you are interested in developing real estate, which you should be because it's awesome and there's freedom and income and all kinds of personal growth to happen. If that's you, then I really encourage you to check out the Deal Architect course. There's a link down in the description. It's dealarchitect.org. Go check it out, kind of see what it's about. If you are considering developing real estate like I am, this will show you exactly how to do it from 0 properties to however many you want to do. I'm trying to build this, as you know, to a $10 million a year company. You don't have to have that as your goal, but if you're wanting to develop real estate, dealarchitect.org, that is absolutely the prime place to learn how to do it. Really appreciate you spending some time with me and walking on this journey with me. See you next week.